What's up everybody and welcome to the Fight franchise and our preview and prediction for the main event of the first pay-per-view of 2024. The first main event of the pay-per-view of 2024 is going to be Sean Strickland defending his middleweight title against Dricus Du Plessis in what is quite an interesting matchup in the middleweight division. This fight, when it was first announced, was quite a cool matchup. But I think a lot of us, since a recent skirmish at UFC 296 between these two, and quite a heated press conference, this has actually become quite a hyped main event, which everybody else is excited for. It's just a shame that the rest of the pay-per-view isn't as stacked. I feel quite sorry for the Canada crowd and the Canada fans, because last year they had the worst pay-per-view of the year. They weren't really given a stacked pay-per-view, and they've kind of been given the same. It's not really got huge names. They should have stacked this card and given it what they could, but unfortunately that isn't the case. But the main event, they're going to be super hyped for, and Sean Strickland is hopefully going to give them a show. Let's kind of run through this matchup and how it came about. So last year, Sean Strickland was arguably the fighter of the year, where he went on a brilliant 3-fight win streak after his loss to Jared Cannonier and managed to capture the middleweight title. He went on a great win. In January, he beat Nasruddin Imavov by decision. Then in July, he beat Abbas Magomedov. And then while that was going on, Dricus was putting on his own little streak that same year. In March at UFC 285, Dricus put on a brilliant performance against Derek Brunson, battering him with elbows and getting the second round TKO. And then in International Fight Week, Dricus put on one of the best upsets of the year and beat Robert Whittaker in July to kind of set himself up for a title shot against Israel Adesanya, which was kind of becoming a really hyped fight with a lot of undertones and tensions and whatnot about who's the real champion from Africa and whatnot. And that was going to be a hype main event going into the Australia card last year. However, Dricus didn't make that fight because there was rumours of a injured foot, I believe. So Sean Strickland stepped in on short notice. And when Sean Strickland stepped in on short notice, he managed to do what all of us thought was the unthinkable. He upset the apple cart and, put on a clinic and dethroned a seemingly unbeatable Israel Adesanya. Like, the only person at middleweight who really had Izzy's number was Alex Pereira, until obviously Strickland came along and proved that wrong, and which has led us to now, where Sean Strickland is now got his first title defense and he's defending against Dricus Du Plessis. Let's kind of run through the tail of the tape and we'll go through it. So Dricus Du Plessis record 20 wins, 2 losses. Sean Strickland 28 wins, 5 losses. Both billed at 6'1". Both fight 185 pounds, but we all know Dricus is the much bigger 185 pounder. Reach, identical 76-inch reach, and Dricus has the longer leg reach. So my initial thought going into this fight, I can only see it really going one way for some reason, and that is a Dricus Du Plessis win, and I'm going to kind of go into that. If you look at both their recent records, Dricus, since he's joined the UFC, has had a brilliant streak of wins and is arguably one of the best middleweight kind of prospects we've had in recent times, where he's come in, he's beat Marcus Perez by KO, beat Trevin Giles by KO, beat Brad Tavares by submission, ragdolled and smashed Darren Till and got the submission win, beat Derek Brunson, and then his best win, TKO'd Robert Whittaker. And the crazy thing about all this, he didn't even look that good in most of the fights, but he just manages to find a way to win. And I'm not saying he doesn't look good, he's not a good fighter. He just looks very sloppy and lethargic at times. Like, he's a very momentum-heavy fighter. And when the momentum's on his side, he's like an avalanche and it's really hard to stop him. Like, we all thought Whittaker would have the style to kind of stop him. But when that avalanche came crashing at Robert Whittaker couldn't stop it. And then we all thought Izzy would be the guy to stop it, but then Sean Strickland obviously changed that. But he's got so much momentum going into this fight, and he fights with all that momentum and that forward pressure style. That's a dangerous thing for Sean Strickland. If we look at Sean Strickland is now kind of a veteran of the UFC. He's been here now for, well, it's going to be his 10th year in the UFC, I believe now. This is coming into his 10th year of the UFC. But if we look at his recent record, last year, 2022, got brutally KO'd by Alex Pereira and then lost to Jared Cannonier, and then obviously had the great year last year where he won the title, beating Nasruddin Imavov, Abbas Magomedov and Israel Adesanya, where he put on that clear nick against Izzy. But that being said, I just don't think Sean Strickland, when it comes to these guys who are pushing forward and going to go kind of bring the fight to him, I don't think he has what it takes to stop that. Where if you look at someone like, I know Alex Pereira didn't kind of like push forward and, you know, try and break Sean Strickland, but once he landed that KO, once he landed that punch, it was night-night, you know what I mean? And Dricus he doesn't have comparative power to Alex Pereira, but Dricus has power. He knocks people about. He's a heavy dude, and he's a big dude for middleweight. Whereas I'm not saying Sean Strickland isn't a big dude, but Sean Strickland doesn't have the same power, which Dricus has. So this fight, Sean Strickland needs to earn Dricus' respect early on, because Dricus is going to come forward and he's going to attack Sean. And if Sean doesn't match that, he's going to get bullied in that octagon. And the other thing is, it seems like Sean Strickland's head has been gone. If you looked at that press conference, Dricus, when he mentioned, you know, Sean's father and what's been going on in his past and childhood, Sean got riled up and he got angry, and he may lose his composure. If you saw him against Izzy, he looked composed and put on a brilliant performance. I don't think that's going to be the same here. He's got brilliant striking defense, Sean Strickland does, but I just think against an avalanche like Dricus Du Plessis, who fights like a bull in a china shop and is so reckless, I think that is such an advantage for Dricus against Sean Strickland. Against other guys in the division who may be able to be a lot more durable than Sean Strickland, I think Dricus would have trouble. Like, styles make fights in this division. Like, I think Izzy has a great style maybe for Dricus, but then for against Sean, Izzy doesn't have a great style. It's blown wide open, this division, since Sean Strickland beat Izzy. If I was going to give Sean Strickland a chance, he needs to be so defensively sound, and he needs to tire out Dricus. Dricus in the second round, because he's not fought a 5-round fight in the UFC. He's probably fought a 5-round fight outside the UFC, maybe, or trained for 5 rounds. But he's not fought a 5-round fight in the UFC. But I'd say Sean has the better cardio. But I can't see Sean Strickland winning by stoppage. He doesn't really get that many stoppages. Whereas Dricus' recent record, he's a stoppage machine. So that kind of comes in his favour. But if Sean Strickland can kind of... He needs to be defensively sound, but he needs to tire out Dricus, because once it gets to the 4th and 5th, I don't think Dricus will have the cardio to keep up with Sean. That's why I think you're going to see a bull in a china shop, and you're going to see Dricus Du Plessis push forward early on and go for that finish in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd round. And I think he's going to get that finish in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd round. I just think he's got that frame, he's got that power, he's got the durability, and he's got the will to win. Because if you look at Sean Strickland recently, I know he's a bit of a wild man, but he's like out there having firework fights and whatnot and driving his motorcycle around. I'm not saying don't have your fun, but you're a world champion, you know, you've got to act like a world champion. Look at someone like GSP, who had a long-standing title reign and was a brilliant champion and, you know, became the best welterweight in the world. He was so dedicated to the fight game, whereas is Sean Strickland so dedicated to the fight game? Yeah, he loves to fight, but is he that, you know, model champion where train, focus, fight, defend your belt? I don't think so. I just think Sean just wants to have fun and give us fun fights, which is why I can only predict Dricus Du Plessis to win this title because I think he's going to have the star matchup. This kind of style to stifle Sean Strickland coming forward. I just think these, big, powerful middleweights coming forward with this aggressive style against Sean Strickland, who, even though Sean Strickland's mindset and his kind of attitude is very aggressive, he's very like, oh man, come on, fight me and all this nonsense and whatnot, and he kind of craps on people and whatnot. His fight style isn't indicative of his mindset. He's very like defensively sound and whatnot, whereas Dricus, he's got that aggressive fight style, but he might have that chill attitude. And I just think he's done enough. Dricus has done enough to this point to rile up Sean Strickland. If Sean Strickland gets into a firefight where he's aggressive with Dricus Du Plessis, I know he dropped Izzy, but is Izzy as durable and as big and powerful as a middleweight as Dricus? I don't think so. So if Sean tries to match Dricus for strength and power for power and get into a fist fight with Dricus, that ain't going to work. Sean needs to be on the outside, defensively sound, for 5 rounds to try and win this fight and take it to a decision. That's the only way I see Sean Strickland winning. Whereas Dricus could probably dominate most of the rounds and win like that. But most likely, and what I'm predicting, is a 2nd or 3rd round KO from Dricus Du Plessis, who just has that power and that kind of momentum on his side. And he's got that cool level-headedness, I think, just to outdo Sean Strickland in this matchup, which is why I'm predicting a Dricus Du Plessis win. I just think he's going to murk Sean Strickland, unfortunately. What is you guys' prediction for this fight? Do you think Dricus is going to win like I do and become world champion? I think he's going to not viciously KO, but I think he's going to KO and stop Sean Strickland. He's on such a brilliant momentum streak. He's got, the advantage. He's taking the fight game seriously. He's taking himself seriously. He's acting like kind of that model champion. I just think Dricus is going to become champion, but whether he's going to hold on to that belt, we don't know because of other style matchups. But let us know your prediction in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think Sean's going to win? Do you think Dricus is going to win? Who do you want to win? Put that down in the comments below. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more MMA and fight content coming soon. We hope you enjoyed the video. After the fight, if I'm wrong, please tell me. Go on, I know you like to do it. Tell me how bad I did and how bad my prediction was. Put that down in the comments below. But like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.